Hello and welcome to News 500, to what is a very special show. It's our 10th episode. Who'd have thought we'd come this far? Anyway, I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Jim Tavaret, and growing a moustache.
And these are the headlines.
Nick Clegg says porn laws are too strict, but strict is just how he likes it.
Bill Cosby to seek the advice of Operation Newtree and inquire how he can avoid detection for another 30 years.
BT will begin talks to purchase mobile provider EE. They will turn up for talks anytime between 8 AM and 5 PM.
It's been 18 months since the death of the inventor of the TV remote. Immediately after his death, his body went missing, but has now shown up behind the couch.
A city worker has been found guilty of dodging rail fares to the tune of $47,500, the price of a single Peterborough ticket on Network Rail.
Cheating, lying, fare dodging. Sounds like the perfect banker.
Absolutely.
After the revelation that UKIP's Kerry Smith made racist and homophobic remarks whilst on painkillers, the party have denied that that's why they included a promise of free prescriptions in their manifesto.
Serious questions are being asked about what the UK knew about CIA torture. A spokesman from MI6 said, "I'm not telling, you can't make me tell."
In the UK, we don't waterboard. We just make you go to a panto in Norwich.
Oh, no, you don't.
Oh, yes, we do.
Oh, yes, you do.
Oh, no, we don't.
No, honestly, we do. A Northern Soul record has sold for £11,000. Let's be honest, vinyl sounds the most authentic. I've got an old Elvis record from 1954. Sounds like this. That's all right now. Much better.
Beautiful. Now, Christian Riley with a song called Boris Johnson. So, Christian, what's the song about?
Boris.
So, when did you meet Boris Johnson? And we'll get that song later in the show from Mr. Riley. Protest continued this week against new legislation restricting pornography. You know, I like to watch porn of people shoving Scrabble pieces up their bum.
That's all fun and games until someone loses an eye.
It was revealed that US law enforcement officers have been responsible for the deaths of 458 civilians over the last 12 months. Germany came in second place with 8. A spokesperson said,
"We have killed more people than any other country in the world because we are the best." In other TV news, Mel B made it out of hospital to be in the X Factor final, which is good news. Not the show. It's always good when a hospital bed becomes free.
Mel B's return may have stopped her replacement, Talisa's TV comeback. Yep, it looks like Talisa blew it really badly with poor technique, but that was a different video.
And Steve, isn't it time for a segue into a song?
Speaking of which, here's Christian Riley with his song, Boris Johnson.
Tory, very Tory. Now let me tell you a little story about the nation's favourite Tory, how he's known as the man who couldn't. He couldn't comb his hair nice or be faithful to his wife. People loved him even though they knew they shouldn't. His name was Boris and he held it high up and said you couldn't keep him off the TV. He couldn't open his mouth without a gaff coming out, but it couldn't hurt his popularity. He said that greed was good, and inequality too, and he couldn't see where that would cause a front. He couldn't make homes cheaper or be nice to poor people, so we gave him the name Ebenezer Couldn't.
Ebenezer Couldn't. He's Ebenezer Couldn't. Ebenezer Couldn't. He's Ebenezer Couldn't. He's Ebenezer Couldn't. He's Ebenezer Couldn't.
Want to hear him on the way to the bank? Lovely. Now, if you know he's a real posh geezer, educated the expensive way. When he was out on a town with the booming crowd, they couldn't leave without smashing up the place. He's mischievous and devious, not sexually abstemious, and he couldn't give a damn what you think. Because he gets £1 million for writing newspaper filler when he's not fathering illegitimate kids. He couldn't care for you if you got a low IQ. He ain't gonna waste a penny on you. He better defund himself, cause in a radio interview he's a couldn't add 2 and 2. No!
Ebenezer Couldn't. He's Ebenezer Couldn't. Ebenezer Couldn't. He's Ebenezer Couldn't. He's Ebenezer
Got the opera singing journalist with a girlfriend in the back of a taxi. Lovely. So that's a little ditty about the mayor of London City. If he tried, he couldn't alienate ya. Cause if he talks out of turn about gays or the Quran, he always says sorry about 5 years later. His hair's a bit moppish, he's a little bit foppish. Couldn't blame you for thinking he was fun. But the moral of this story is don't forget that he's a Tory and he'll always be an Ebenezer cunt.
Last week saw International Cheetah Day. That's the spotted cat, not Lance Armstrong. Wildlife experts said that the species is heading for extinction and everyone should be concerned.
Everybody, that is, apart from antelopes, impalas and any creature that can't run at 80 miles per hour. Denmark has presented a claim to the UN for the North Pole. A spokesperson for the North Pole was unable to respond to the claim, stating, "Ho ho ho, I'm a bit busy right now."
An anti-slavery raid on a factory in Greater Manchester has uncovered workers from Eastern Europe allegedly paid under £2 an hour. Nigel Farage hopes the jobs can now go to British slaves.
Russell Brand was on Question Time this week speaking about social responsibility. Next week on the show, tax advice from Jimmy Carr and childcare tips from Gary Glitter.
And finally, the Lint Cafe Sydney has seen a marked increase of reviews on TripAdvisor. One customer wrote, "The macchiato is delicious, but it can take over 12 hours to get served."
That's all from News 500. To get your regular fix, subscribe now. The week's news in 500 seconds.
Ish.